Hi everybody, welcome back to Module 2, Lecture 2, Managing Your Data. In the last video we talked a little bit about imagining your reference paper like a worn out or well-used jigsaw puzzle where some pieces need to be tossed out because they don't belong in the puzzle, other pieces need to be arranged by color in a jigsaw puzzle, but in our reference work, we're going to be looking for particular themes that are going to start to emerge as we read more and more. You want to make notes about what each article contributes to your research. So you want to have a journal that helps you to record, what it is that this article says that's important to your research. You'll also use coding tools that will help you create tags for the research, and the online software tools will help you to keep track of that as well. I personally have a hard time reading, online, especially the amount that we're going to read. So I actually printed stuff out and made little books of all my paper, but use the tools really, really consistently. I just like to read, paper versus reading online. So, but if you're comfortable reading online, it's so much easier. But your notes and your tagging is, where you're actually creating these themes, and they're going to help you to keep track of this data as we go along. Try to be as specific as possible so that you don't have to go back. Like, I remember reading this, but oh my gosh, what did I do with it? Where did I put it? Try to be consistent and as specific as possible in understanding what's in each article so that you don't have to go back and reread it, because there's going to be so much reading. Proper citations are critical, not just in the body of the work, but also in the bibliography. Those references and the reference section is really what gives the readers confidence that you've done the hard work in capturing those pieces that substantiate your work, that, again, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. So people who've come before us, who have talked about our area, we want to give them full credit because they are what, boost up our paper and give us the right to contribute to the conversation. APA citations are generally recommended for academic work in the sciences space. It is the kind that I use. I highly recommend it, but no matter what, you must be very consistent. So choose and, keep with the exact same, type of citation. So otherwise it'll be a mess. The book kind of gave us this picture of these 2 3x5 cards to give you an idea of the amount of information that you have to capture. Certainly this is a way that you can do it. I don't recommend it, but if it's the way you want to do it, it's fine. But you do have to capture all of this information because it has to go into the reference section of your paper, and you've got to use proper citations. But I'm hoping I can talk you out of using 3x5 cards. So, integrated cataloging and documentation software. Mentioned in the book, some of the specific tools that are available. Zotero, which is, I think, a newer tool. I don't think it was out when I was doing my paper. I used EndNote. RefWorks is another one. Atlas TI is another one. Many of these research tools work better on Intel computers. Some of them don't work at all on a Mac. I'm actually going to do a little bit of a demo tonight on Zotero, and it does work nicely on a Mac, which was great. I had to get an Intel computer. I'm a huge Mac advocate. I've used Macs forever. But I had to get an Intel system in order to do this work because the tools some of them don't work at all, like I said. Make sure that these couple of weeks you spend time learning the tools. For sure, one of the cataloging and documentation software tools. Atlas TI is a little bit more sophisticated for coding, and I do recommend it. But it's probably not where you need to go right now, but you need to choose a cataloging software. And you want to Use online resources to learn. There is a video in this module that I just posted. It's a short video on Zotero. But it doesn't give you any information really on doing research. It's assuming that you are a researcher already and that you're just looking at the Zotero for a new tool. So I'm going to try to do a little bit that kind of combines what it is we're trying to do from a research perspective along with using the tool. So hopefully that's going to work out. So we're going to get rid of this. And behind it, okay, so there's a Microsoft Word document. I don't need that. Where is my... So we're going to start with Google Scholar because obviously as a new researcher, we're going to go out and we're going to start looking for our reference works. So you'll begin in a place like Google Scholar. Even if you find you want to use journals and databases of journals, once you find the article, I remember it being a little bit clunky trying to get some of the journals to actually cite in an easy way. And Google Scholar is super easy. So if you find it in a particular journal or something like that, see if you can get it to come up in Wayne State's Google Scholar. You want to go through the libraries online, through the libraries, and bring up Google Scholar, through the libraries. This is not I don't think it's what I did here. I think this is just regular Google Scholar because this is just a demo. But once you get into the Wayne State version of Google Scholar, you have access to all the papers that Wayne State has available. And it will help you a great deal in getting access to like the PDF data and stuff like that. And I'll show you that in a minute. So let's assume I found an article and I want to bring it up here so that I can properly cite it and bring it into my software. So it's a Bharadwaj article from 2000, and this is it right here: Making Innovation Happen in Organizations, Individual Creativity Mechanisms, Organizational Creativity Mechanisms, or both. So what you want is right down here, you see this cite button. So you hit the cite button and then you choose APA. And when you hit the EndNote button, this works both for EndNote and Zotero. So you hit the EndNote button and you can go to Zotero. And there it is, Making Innovation Happen in Organizations. So it automatically populates, and it did the same thing for EndNote because when I used EndNote, this is exactly how it worked. It automatically populates the library. So when you go through the demo that I included, you'll learn how to set all this up. But basically, it goes into the sort of the umbrella of the library. And then what I created here were two sub libraries, and they are based on the themes. So these are the stacks of colored jigsaw puzzles. These are the themes that are going to start to come out as you're reading. And you can create as many of these as you want. And they can be very specific, so you can find this article. But then you drag the article directly into the subcategory. And there it is. It pops right up there. Now, the other thing you can do, and let me see if it actually has it here. I think it is here. Okay, good. Okay, so the PDF is available here. So what we're going to do is we're going to download the PDF. Save. And then we're going to go back to Zotero. We're going to click on it, and we're going to add an attachment. So we're going to add the file. Hopefully I'm going to be able to find it. Oh, there it is. Good. I'm Making innovation happen in organizations. You open it up, and it becomes part of the citation. So now when I go looking for, I go back to my regular library, go into my specific dissertation library, go back into innovation, because I remember that there's a paragraph in there and I want to look at it. And instead of having to go find this again on Google Scholar, it's right here in my library, and I can open it up and be able to read and code and get the information I need. So now I'm going to show you a little cite while you write. So apologies, this is, there's no real words here, but we're going to add the Bharadwaj here. So, you get to your next paragraph, you're typing along, and you want to add in, okay, so here's our home tab in Word. You're going to add this extension in, and EndNote has an extension as well, so you just want to follow the directions, add the tool that you want to use. I use Zotero. So when you click on the Zotero button, you come to what they're able to do. So I'm writing along, and I want to add in the citation. So you click Add, and then what we do is we search for it. So we search for Bharadwaj. Bharadwaj. Making innovation happen, right there. So it brings up, what you have available, because I actually have a couple of Bharadwaj articles in here. And then once it comes into this, this title bar, basically, you hit enter, and you see it goes straight into your document. So this is proper APA citation, goes directly into the typed work, and then you continue on with your typing. And instead of having to type it in yourself, but then even better, it adds it in to the references section. So over time, of course, this reference section isn't going to be something that you see anymore, because you're going to have pages and pages and pages in front of it. And when you get to the end, you're going to see all of your citations, anything that you've put into the paper, properly cited in the reference section automatically. So this is just a huge time savings. And it's also, the amount of mistakes that students make typing this information in, trying to get it perfectly typed in with all the right commas and semicolons and everything else, and having all of the right information, and then having to reference back to a 3x5 card and then type it all in. I remember doing this in high school and college. It was just a nightmare. And here it is automatically done. So we can do it again. Well, we're typing along, and we want to cite, and then we search for the items that we want to cite. I think I've got Marston in here. I do. Once it comes up, you hit enter, and you can actually put multiple citations in here. So you can type Marston, Bharadwaj, etc., and they will all be put properly into the, the cite while you write section within Word, and then they'll all be copied into the reference section. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of a high level of what to expect in using this type of software. I highly, highly, highly encourage it. And be sure to watch, use YouTube to learn how to use these tools. It's really, really helpful. There's so many, personalities out there teaching how to use the tools, and everybody's got, tips and tricks, and really get an idea of, of how to use them, use the richness of the tool. I think Zotero is a little simpler than maybe like an EndNote. Again, EndNote is expensive though. you're writing a dissertation for a PhD. It's not going to, it's not going to break the bank. But this one seemed, perfectly fine, and it was free, so I decided to try this one. Took me, an hour or so to learn how to use it, but it's, it's pretty simple, and I think it's a good option for you guys. So this is it for this video, and we'll come back and finish up the chapter in the next one. Good night.